I'm David Sauls here in Alvin, Texas. I have a shop called Sauls Performance. Mostly work on Lightnings, New Edge Mustangs, Cobras, mostly modular Fords, some Coyote stuff. Have a DynoJet dyno behind us. Do tuning with SVT, Holley, EFI, some HP tuner stuff. Mostly do bumper to bumper builds, with whether it's rear end work, transmission work, what have you. But primarily our biggest customer is the Gen 2 Lightning like you see behind me. Definitely get Lightnings from all over Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana. We got contacts from the Northeast, Florida. And most of the time when they're that far away, I just say there's gotta be somebody between there and here. That makes the relationship a little hard if there's anything you want to do future, you want to change some things or whatever without transporting a vehicle that far. And I would like to be able to converse with you in person. You know, a lot of them just has to put it on a transport and bring it here. But we never get to talk to each other face to face. They come from all over, and it's kind of wild that, you know, here in Alvin, you know, we get this much inquiries about it. Like I said, it's kind of shifted the business to that has been so strong for us, is that Lightning platform. I've worked in Ford dealers all my life, total of 25 years. All the certifications that were achievable I had. In the middle of that, I took a little break. I worked at another shop for a little while, independent shop. Got a little bit of background, like kind of what I do now. But 25 years total in on that. Decided one day that I'm gonna go full bore into doing this full time for myself. My son helps me too. He's a Lightning nerd and everything just like I am. So we have a good time out here working on these trucks and building some kind of unique stuff, even though it's older platform. But it's something we enjoy, and I enjoy too. Do some Coyote stuff, but the modular Fords, we're talking prior to Coyote platform, is more of my niche here. And I enjoy working on those. We've got a lot of clientele that's their application. We do engine builds here. We don't do the machining, but we have a local guy who does machine work for us. We'll put the assembly together. We'll even do some transmission work, 4100, 6R80 stuff, rear end work, typical brakes, electrical, AC, whatever. But our main focus is engine work, tuning, do tuning with SVT. We also do Holley, EFI, and swaps of that sort too, but it must be a Ford. Also has to be looked over by us if we didn't do it. We want to make sure it's done right. You know, pay us to look at it. We'll make sure it's right before we put it on the dyno. You can choose to use your own tuner because we do have a dyno here. We can support that if you have a tuner you want to use and you want to, you know, have us do the legwork for you. We generally do tuning with SVT, Holley, some HP, but mostly modular-based platforms. We've done one full Coyote swap build in a Lightning, Gen 2, 6R80, Gen 5, 3-liter Whipple, fuel system, rear end work, E85. We tuned it here ourselves. We've got another one behind us on the dyno right now that was started by another shop, and we kind of inherited that project, and just to try to finish it up, ended up getting a little bit involved with how much we had to do, but that one is basically ready to go other than some last minute tuning that is being handled remotely.
So what device is that?
Avid.
Oh, that's the Avid one you're talking about. Oh, okay. Alright, about to take a ride in a Coyote swapped Lightning. Should be interesting. Yeah, this thing's clean. Wow.
Well, it was clean.
I mean, it's dusty, but it's like nice.
Yeah.
So this is a Gen 3 Coyote with a 10R and a Whipple 3.8 blower.
3.8.
God.
It's on the 85. It's got E-Pass steering, so we got rid of all the steering gearbox, opened up a bunch of clearance issues there are with the Coyote. Right now, just kind of doing some baseline data log stuff, getting the startup and cruising and shifting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah, this truck is not tuned all the way yet.
No.
It's still in the process.
No. We're sitting in here with the AC going.
Yeah, it's nice.
Driving really good. Steering's good. I added the switch here, so basically we can drive it.
Post selection.
We can down click it in between D and 2.
Yeah.
And then we have sport mode basically.
Oh, that's cool.
And we can just click it back into drive.
Wow.
And then this Avid tuner I have right here is a gear, so you can tell exactly what gear you're in.
Oh, nice.
Which you can't do without any other kind of device. You don't,
Right.
unless you change the cluster and use an aftermarket. But Lightnings, to me, have to have this cluster.
Yeah.
This is, I don't know, just one of those things about me is I want that cluster in there.
Well, yeah, and then it says SVT.
Yeah.
You gotta have the
and
SVT.
And the way it glows at night, oh,
Yeah.
I just gotta have it.
I've never had an SVT Lightning or an SVT Cobra, but I had an SVT Contour and I had an SVT Focus. So I know a little bit about how, you know, like those SVT badges are cool. You gotta have that.
When I bought a 99 Lightning when they're brand new, and I remember driving home late at night from the dealer and I just sat there and gawked at this gauge cluster, and I was like, man, that is so sweet. And then then it's like starts to dawn on me that I bought this truck.
Yeah.
You know?
It settles
I'm like,
in.
man, this thing's so badass. And Cobra, I wanted a Cobra too, but I wanted a truck. And I had a Fox body Mustang at the time, so that filled the void of a car.
Right.
But these trucks, I mean, I bought one when they're brand new. I had a Gen 1 that I did everything under the sun on.
Wow.
I did a built motor, a Vortec, did all kinds of stuff that tuning-wise back then was so archaic. I would wonder what it would do now with some, better technology or a Holly on it or something.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, that thing was pretty stout. And then I bought that Lightning, and I did a bunch of everything that came out at the time you could buy, and then I put nitrous on it. And I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm supposed to daily drive this thing, right?
Now I need a daily to replace my daily.
Then I got rid of it. Tried to wisen up and buy a house and everything, and then regretted that immediately. And then bought that 2001 that I have, and I've had that ever since.
Wow.
Got me into cars is my dad. My dad was always a car guy. Back in the 60s, he had all kinds of stories about these cars that I think are absolutely cool as hell now that you can't even acquire at these days. But he got me into that. He was building a couple Broncos. Then he bought a Fox body back when didn't even really know what they were in the early 80s. He bought a Capri, did a big block swap on it when there just wasn't that kind of stuff going on. He did a big block swap, doing that process with him, helping him with it, building his own headers, oil pan, everything to adapt that. I just thought, man, this is awesome. It'd be cool to do this kind of stuff. And he taught me a lot going into the next step. That's school and saying I want to work on cars for a living. We were at a Fun Ford event a long time ago. I think it was actually called Fun Ford Sunday at the time. And there was a booth from called Asset. This was a Ford program for learning how to work on cars and going straight into the dealership. And I thought, man, that's right up my alley. So that's what I did. I signed up for that, knew what I wanted to do before I even got out of college or high school, went straight into there, did that program, got out, went straight into the dealership. and did a lot of side work for years. And I always wanted to do kind of like the hot rod performance side of it. If you're a car guy, that's what you want to do. You don't want to just repair cars. So repairing cars definitely paid the bills, but I wanted to do some cooler stuff, right? So in order to do that, you need to do your own thing or do your side work or go work for somebody who does that. So I worked for somebody who does that for a little while. Got some learning achieved there of the right and wrong way of doing business, and learned a lot of cool little things. Did some welding, did a lot of different stuff I didn't get to do in the dealership. But things changed. Went back to the dealer, did that for several more years, and continued to do side work to just the point where I had absolutely no life. Go to the dealer, work there all day, come home, work on stuff until late at night, and decided, I have property now, let me get a shop going just for my own stuff, put a lift in. And as soon as I did that, man, it just went off the rails with the amount of inquiries I had, and just kept doing the two-job deal, working myself to death. And kind of in my favor is the dealer stuff started to kind of dwindle away, and I was picking up so much here. So just one day we went on vacation. On the road trip back, I was like, I'm just gonna jump in it and see what happens. And that's kind of where I am now. And of course, when I went into it, I was kind of opening myself up to so many different things. And as time went on, kind of found what more people are interested in, at least for me, and that is these older stuff, this older trucks and Cobras and stuff. And I still like those because, hell, I bought them brand new when they were new. So I have history with them, and I was always doing side work on them, so forever. So many motors I've done in these trucks and cars is ridiculous. So it just kind of makes sense. And that's kind of where I am now. Fabrication wise, we do some mild fabrication, don't have a machine shop here, nothing like that, but we've done full exhaust systems, all out of stainless, done headers from scratch. The Coyote swap truck we did, the Gen 2 one, we built headers all the way to the tips. And we've built quite a few Lightning full systems from the headers back, all stainless. They've all come out pretty well in my opinion. I think they sound great and they look good, and got a lot of positive feedback on that. We make brackets and little odds and ends for these swaps. Like the car behind me, this Mustang here has been, everything on it has to be made. So that's kind of where I started with 20 years ago, is making stuff for that thing. In a Ford dealer, you don't get fabrication experience, but doing swaps and weird stuff, you get a lot of practice there. Don't do paint body work. Upholstery, that kind of stuff, no, that's for those specialists. They can do that, yeah. But strictly mainly worry about performance. Sure, if you've got an AC problem or something like that and it's already here for some other kind of work, then I'll help you out and do what I can there. But mainly it's performance stuff, engine builds. We've got a couple of Lightning motors here that are going on the trucks that are outside. That one's a full build, everything, motor, transmission, fuel system, everything. What sort of sets us apart too is, we're working on a niche modular platform, but we also have years of experience in dealing with diagnostics, things that a lot of people forget about. The tuning side of it, at least for me, at least 80% of the jobs that come in tuning-wise have diagnostics that need to be done, things that need to be sorted out that are not tuning related. But we take care of it all here, which you find probably elsewhere you might be sent out the door to figure out those things on your own. But I do a lot of diagnostics that I think a lot of people in this same field may or may not have, or may not have 20 plus years experience working on Ford or automotive period, to have some of that background, some of the tools, some of the diagnostic equipment, things that I think set me aside from maybe the guy next door that is just replacing parts. There are some cookie cutter combinations for these trucks, same as the Cobras, but majority of the time, you know, these have been out a long time, 20 years. Somebody has already done modifications themselves. And they want to reincorporate this particular supercharger, these cylinder heads, they got these cams. And then so that makes the combination different from one to the next. We do have pretty much a known vetted combination for these that work well. What supercharger to use, what cams to use, what heads to use, what compression ratio we like to use to be able to run a 93. Because these are not like coyotes where you can get away with a lot of compression without spark knock. These are a different story. The combustion chamber is different. It just lends itself to not being able to have the flexibility like a coyote does with a variable cam. But we do a lot of these in so many different variations. So when we go to the tuning side of it, there's a lot of differences that we do from one file to the next because of what was done. Now, if you came to me and said, hey, I just got a stock truck, I want to do this, how much can I make on this budget? All right, we can work with that, try to see if we can do a budget. If you've got a lot of money to spend and you want to be different, then you don't want this platform, you want to do a Coyote, fine, we'll do that too. You know, but there are pluses with this in a way because of affordability. Coyote swaps are really expensive done right, because people don't make direct fit headers that work with it. They say they do, but they don't fit. Exhaust, fuel system, everything, and it starts to just kind of domino into a big build. These generally, you know, built well with common parts is a 750-ish wheel horsepower vehicle. It's not much more than that. You want to do a turbo, which we don't recommend on these. We've been involved with some that have made some wild numbers in 1200 range on a turbos application, but they just don't fare well as a driver with the transmission choice and various things like that. But a good Whipple on these, 2.3, simple deal, just works. Just works. And if it's got to be all done correctly, not a bunch of used parts, done with what we know works. I get an ass load of emails about doing email tuning on these trucks. And if it was 20 years ago, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But these trucks, the Cobras, all that stuff, all those platforms, with the age that's involved and all the hands that have had their part in it, is the problem. It's all the workmanship that's been going on most of the time. Maybe some weird parts. You think you have this part, you have this set of injectors, you don't. You know, you have some other underlying issues, and I'm supposed to figure that out over an email, a data log, and sometimes, yes, that can be figured out. Like I said before, it's about 80% of diagnostics involved with it in the first place. So if a guy gives you a list of stuff, I can build something with it, give it to you, and then you might come back complaining because it runs like shit, this and that, and come to find out you just have the wrong set of injectors in it, or you have a vacuum leak, you have whatever. Those trucks and the Cobras and all that do not have widebands on board, so you have to install your own wideband. You have to have that incorporated into the tuner to data log on the same log that you're receiving to send it to me. And if you go through the legwork and you want to do all that, that's fine too. But it always boils down to there's some kind of mechanical, electrical, something going on. And that's why I shy away from doing that. I do pick some people here and there. If you send me photos like I asked for, you got a real good build sheet, sounds like you're knowledgeable about the platform and you've been working on it, it's been running fine, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's a different story. But majority of the time, you get something over here and you know, I got my work cut out that really isn't tuning. It's sorting out all the bugs. And then I can get into the tuning and get it all wrapped up. On the tuning side of it, we ask you to bring us a vehicle with registration, insurance, some good tires on it. That way we can drive it afterwards. Doesn't mean we got to go make a rip on it, but I want to drive it around, make sure the shift points are where I want them, how I want them to feel, or how I expect them to feel, and get an overall sense of how the vehicle drives. Because drivability side of it is just as important as, is it safe, does it make power, this kind of thing. Don't get too fixated on power numbers, but just how does it drive, how does it start, how does it cold start, especially if it's on E85. A lot of people don't understand that or want to come from out of town and sit and linger, and I'm supposed to work all this magic out in, 3-4 hours, which do enough of them, you've got some pretty decent files to work with, as long as you don't have some weird variables in there. But generally, off the dyno, I want to go road test it. And like I said, I'm not beating on it. If you are one that mostly races it, then I'm not going to go out and do crazy pulls in it. I'm going to ask you to do the logging for me. If you go to the track, then give me a log of it. I'll see where the fuel's at. I'll see where it's shifting at, see versus when it's commanded, see what the temperatures are looking like, get an overall feel of it in that kind of environment. But like I said, the dyno is just there as a tool, keeps me off the street, also gives you some numbers. And the other part of that with the numbers is if you know of some similar combinations that you've had, and you know these parts are supposed to do this, if it's making 50, 100 horsepower less, something's going on. That's the other part of this dyno that I like. Plus weird misfires or other little weird things that come up that seat of the pants maybe on the road feels okay, but on here tells another story. A lot of people shy on the dyno and say, just do your street stuff, do your log, your tuner knows exactly what's going on. But if you didn't follow it up at the track to see what kind of mile an hour is it trap, how's it performing, you don't know. The dyno is still, once again, another tool. Just to clarify, some people get that mixed up and what that purpose is, and that is get a number, it's diagnostics, and stays off the street.
Shout out to David Sauls for sitting down with me and telling me his story. If you want to check out Sauls Performance in Alvin, Texas, click on the link in the description of this video. Thanks again for watching, guys.